Hi, this is Clara with Clarity Unlimited. I provide career coaching to establish successful professionals who feel like there's something missing, want to figure out what that is and then go get it. And this week we're going to be talking about a strategy for you to follow if you're wanting peace of mind, to raise your confidence, and to have more satisfaction in your work, and maybe even in your journey to finding work. I am breaking a social media rule today, which says keep everything short and in sound bites because people don't have the time. And I'm going to invite you to carve out the few minutes that this video is going to last, because there might be something important in here. I think it's one of the most important things that I'm going to start talking about. And I can't do it in a sound bite, so I'm not even going to try. It's really too important. And I'm going to be reading it a lot because I had to pull some notes together for this. So forgive me if it sounds reedy through places. I'm generally more and more sure that most of us are really out of whack with the timing of our lives and therefore having what matters to us. And I wonder if you've made that correlation between having what you want and the timing of having what you want. So I'm going to clarify, because most of us know we're working too much, or we're playing too little, or we're drinking caffeine when we really should be napping, or we're watching Netflix rather than socializing. We're dreaming about that incredible holiday we want to take instead of actually taking it. So there's lots of out of whack stuff going on, and most of us are aware of these things. But what I'm referring to is a different kind of sort of out of whackness. We're out of whack with how to get the things we really want, and for some of us even how to get to know what those things are that we really want. These are the things that would really genuinely give us peace of mind or satisfaction, a sense of completion, or return our confidence to us in some ways. They're not frivolous things. They're things we need for a contented life. For example, a rewarding, good fit job for a great employer can change a person's entire quality of life, and maybe even more importantly, how they feel about and see themselves. So this is really important, and there are two strategies that most of us use to get what it is that we want, and most people are in the default to strategy one. So I want to flag something for a second. If you're a really smart person, which you probably are if you're on this newsletter list, just because I know where all of you came from, you might be tempted as you start to hear things to go, I'll just tune that out because I already know that. I want to invite you to stay tuned in and be open to hearing something new. Sometimes we sort of understand conceptually what's being offered to us, and we miss the depth, or our brains get it, but our hearts don't quite get it, or our guts don't quite get it. So I want to invite you to hang in there with me. And hang in there until the end. And if that voice in your head that goes, I already know this, I have a very strong one. I already know this. I already know that. For me, it usually pops up when there's something coming my way that might cause me to have to make a change that I would want to make, but not really, So here we go. The first strategy is called doing, and most of us are familiar with this. It involves planning and completing tasks, and usually compartmentalizing our vulnerabilities, our feelings, and our fears. Often when we're in this doing mode, we're trying to survive the days where we're crumpled on the couch, gasping between spoonfuls of rocky road. When we're in doing strategy, we tell ourselves things like, I should have done more today. If I'd done it right, it would have worked out. If I was any good, I'd be more on top of things. Everyone else does it this way and seems to succeed. What's wrong with me? If I stop or slow down, I'm never going to get where I want to go. This is the voice of the doing. And a classic example of where this shows up is the process of finding a job. I mean, I've lost count. I hear one of two things from clients that hire me. Either I'm networking and I'm applying and I'm interviewing and I'm doing it all, and I don't get it. It's been 3 months. What's like, nobody wants me. I'm doing all the things. And then the opposite is I can't get myself to do anything. I hate networking. I don't want to write a cover letter. I don't know what to say. The interviews are for jobs I don't even want, and I'm tempted to take one of those. You know, it's been 3 months. I'm not sure I can keep this up. And more often than not, my response in both those scenarios is it's time to change your strategy. It is time to change your strategy. I'll try not to slur my way through this video. Stop doing what you think you should be doing in the way you're doing it. Stop pushing yourself to do things you don't want to do. Because I'm confident that the best version of you is not coming across with this approach. Maybe an exhausted, slightly desperate, robotic, even apathetic side of you. But your next employer isn't looking for that version of you, and you don't want to be that version of you. Okay, that was strategy 1. Strategy 2 is called flowing. Hang in there with me. It's called flowing. So still means you're still doing stuff here. You know, sitting at home and hoping or visualizing, it doesn't get us where we want to go, but strategic and thoughtful and tuned in doing does. So while we're doing things, it's really important to simultaneously pay attention to whatever we're feeling, whatever. And I don't mean emotions. I'm not talking about, I'm happy today, I'm sad, I'm irritated. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about whether something feels easy or it feels challenging, but in a good way. Or if it feels like there's a 20-foot wall in the way. And all of a sudden we feel we've got to push to keep going, to get anywhere. I mean, this kind of wall, usually it inspires either an immediate backpedal, followed by another pint of ice cream, or for the stubborn among us, we force out a cover letter, and then we click submit and feel like we really did just submit. So let's talk about the nature of flow. So the strategy of flow assumes that we're all connected to some kind of flow. It runs through us. It's our essence. I imagine it and often talk about it as a river that sort of carries us forwards. It carries us forwards if we just step in and allow. And this river lies within us. We all naturally step in and out, but often not consciously, because we're in default doing mode. And what's often forgotten is that this river, it holds all this information about the timing and the pace of what happens and when. And somehow it seems to know better than us what it is that we want. And it's able to deliver it to us at the right time. Now, our brain might disagree with what that right time is. No, the right time is now. It's been this amount of time. It's been 3 weeks. So it's now. Whereas this flow or this river or this essence inside of us might be saying, it's not now. You're not quite there yet. And this might be, you're hoping to make a new friend. Maybe you move to a new city or a new job. It could be you're waiting for that offer letter, and 2 hours feels like 2 weeks under those circumstances. Or maybe you're waiting for an opportunity, somebody to come along and help you and grow your business or do things differently. But when we start to pay attention to the pace of this river, we eventually arrive places that we belong. Or they come to us. I'm not sure on the direction of it, but we save a lot of time and energy along the way. And this is why I say it's a route that delivers peace of mind and satisfaction and confidence, because it's things and places and people that we belong to. So the doer which is driven by our mind, our inner pusher and our inner judge, isn't comfortable with this whole flow thing. And then, so when we start to try it out, by maybe we decide, okay, I'm going to slow things down, I'm going to listen more deeply, that's when the mind will kick in and say things like, oh, this airy-fairy shit, just get on with things. Doing less isn't going to get you anywhere. If you were doing it right, you'd be there by now. Feelings, schmealings. Cut out the woo-woo crap. The problem is you. It's not what you're doing. Whereas, it's a really nice part of us. Whereas flow, or the river, tends to be less attached to what you do or don't do, but says things like, just keep going. Don't bother with that task. Okay, pause before you do that. You need a break. This doesn't feel right. Let's pull back. Oh yes, that's good. Go for that. Or you're doing your best and it's more than enough. Which, by the way, it is. It always is. So if we apply this at work, like I use this a lot in my business. If I reach out or someone reaches out to me and I end up in a conversation with them and I have this sense that it's not going anywhere, I now stop and find a graceful way to exit. And this is an internal sense that helps me decide. And there might be nothing particularly obvious in the conversation, but I feel it. You know, I feel the wall, or I feel there's a mismatch in the connection, or I recognize that doing more is going to waste time and energy for both of us. But in the past, I would push through that. I would keep conversations going because maybe this person will have something I want, or vice versa. But I've hit enough cul-de-sacs to know that it's the river. It's my deeper essence that knows who I should connect with and who I should move on from and when. So another example, if you ever notice how you might pour energy into outreach in all the places that you'd expect success. I'll reach out to this person, they're definitely going to refer me to this person, that person might even have a job for me. And nothing comes from any of those efforts. And then all of a sudden, from over here, you get an opportunity from left field. Like, this is the nature of flow, and it's why we really don't need to be doing as much as we are. We need to be doing things and just trust that it'll come from wherever. We get very attached to, if I'm putting it over here, it should come from over here. We don't think beyond what that activity is. So you never know the ripple effect. You know, you could go to an interview for a job you don't want, and they might refer you to another job, for example. You just don't know. We think single layer, and we need to think beyond that. I've obviously got career stuff in my mind right now, but talking generally. So it isn't, I'm not saying it's easy to move at the pace of this invisible river, because most of us are conditioned and habitually going a lot faster. But there is this silent, it's like a silent, gentle flow of life. It's our own true internal pace that we often forget is part of us. And moving at this pace, if we choose to move at this pace, it means being able to withstand the difficult feelings that surface when we stop pushing and start pausing. And this is for me, this shows up a lot for myself. A lot of difficult feelings surface when I know I need to pause. But there's so many aspects of me that just want to take that opportunity, move in that direction, take that thing, go there, because I'm so uncomfortable here. But I really know that those things aren't right for me. And I spend a lot of time sitting with clients as they move through the waves of these kind of feelings. Because when you can withstand some of these waves, there's movement on the other side. It means you've stayed where you belong, in preparation for what belongs to you. So the invitation with flow is to be more tuned in, also strategic, and then trusting. I mean, I know that's it's not like a simple formula. I mean, most of us been trained out of that. You know, we've had enough experiences, we've had enough pain, we've had enough disappointment. We're like, what are you talking about? I need to have more control in my life. Like, don't ask me to do this stuff. But again, it's where satisfaction lies. It's where peace of mind lies. It's where we are. You meet yourself in this place. There's a right timing for things. You know, we've all experienced these moments of flow, synchronicity, or luck, or grace, or whatever word you want to give to it. But it's happening all the time. It's just that we tend to notice these moments more when they're obvious. You know, they're bigger, they're louder, they're prettier, they're more inexplicable. I remember one time I went to travel to Thailand, and I was in this random bar in Bangkok, and this person I knew from Hawaii showed up, and I was like, these kind of things, you just sort of go, what is that? What's that about? So I have a practice for you, and it's in the newsletter, so you can follow the steps in there, because I'm just going to go through it quite quickly here. But I guess there's always a pause button. So choose a task that you need to do. One that if you choose to do it or not do it, there won't be a high cost to it. So maybe it's whether you apply, but choose something that you're not sure about. You could do it with a job that you're ambivalent about. You could do it with like writing a cover letter for that job opportunity. You know, one that you're not, it's really about the practice. Whether you do the action or not, I'm not as concerned about. This is more about the practice of tuning in. So pick anything, actually. Then you can decide if you want to act on it. So choose a task that you're thinking of completing, and then tune in. So we know tune in is strategy number 2. It's flow. It means breath and bringing your attention out of your mind and just down into your body, sort of solar plexus area. Just tune in. Just be aware. Oh, okay, yeah, I have a body. I have a body as well as a head and a mind. Yes, okay, tune in. Notice if somewhere in your body, when you think about doing this task, you're should I do this task? Notice if you sense a yes, or a not now, or a not ever. A yes or a not now or a not ever. This could show up as tension. You know, you're thinking of doing this thing and you feel tense. You feel contraction. You feel a sort of, look at me, I'm backing off. Body's fascinating. The body will communicate so many things to us that we miss. Or maybe you feel openness and moving, leaning in. Maybe you just feel ease, like a nothingness. Or maybe you feel a slight push-pull. That might be your not now. And while you're doing this, dismiss the voice in your head that's telling you, like, oh, this is ridiculous, you're losing your plot. Or you're going to lose everything if you carry on down this route. I mean, that voice has been with you for as long as you can remember, and it's got you where you are, and it's going to do its best to keep you where you are. So you can say lovingly, thank you, not now, practicing something new. So be doubtful, but also notice that while you're doing this exercise, just notice you might have feelings, very slight ones, of anticipation and hope. There might be something in your essence that recognizes your attempts to connect. I know this sounds maybe a little strange, but we're so much more than our minds. And this connecting in with this deeper place inside of us can actually be where we start to feel more peace and better, and we get better guidance from here as well. So notice if there are parts of you that feel good about this exercise, as well as noticing the parts that don't and find it boring or pointless or scary. So note down what you sensed as your decision with the task. Yes, not now, not ever. And make a decision to trust it. And then take action on it and see what happens. So the next time you go to apply for a job, or you've got to make a phone call to a colleague, or you need to respond to an invitation, for example, seek your deeper yes or not now or not ever, and trust it, and eventually act on it. But maybe for some of us, the first step is just noticing it and becoming aware of it. And it's a lot of trial and error. So until this part of you, this sort of river, becomes a natural part of your decision making, it's worth just be in the game a little bit. But this is flow. And flow will deliver you back to yourself, to what matters to you, and to what you know to be true for you. And from there, the decisions that you make, and therefore the results that you receive, will change in meaningful ways that bring you peace, satisfaction, and joy. Have fun. Experiment. Let me know how it goes. And if you've got any questions, also please let me know. You're very welcome.